Good morning from Los Angeles and good evening to those of you in Athens and elsewhere in Greece. On behalf of George Manginis, Academic Director of the Benaki Museum, and myself, I would like to welcome you to Hellenic Together 3.0, the third in a series of lectures highlighting the exceptional collections and exhibitions put on by the Benaki Museum in Athens. My name is Sharon Gerstel and I direct the Stavros Niarchos Foundation Center for the Study of Hellenic Culture at UCLA. One of my fondest memories of working as an archaeologist in Greece were the break times when we sat down collegially to discuss the day's finds, always over a strong coffee and a package of PAPADOPOULOU biscuits, in my case, yemista with chocolate fillings. All of us have memories connected with these uniquely Greek biscuits, a texture, a color, a place, a memory, a caprice, a cream cracker. Today, I'm really excited to learn more about the company that produced these biscuits and learn more about how they're made. But before doing that, let me turn over the screen to my dear colleague George Manginius of the Benaki Museum to introduce today's exceptional speaker. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sharon, for the wonderful introduction. Good morning, afternoon, and evening to all from Athens. And Happy New Year to those who are joining us tonight for the first time. As always, it is a particular pleasure to meet with the Hellenic Together community for the second installment in the third series of lectures on the research, exhibitions, and the projects at the Benaki in Athens. Now, this initiative we owe to Professor Gerstel, and it was a way to bring together the UCLA Stavros Niarchos Foundation Center community and the Benaki Museum friends and colleagues at a very difficult time, which was the first global lockdown in spring 2020. And it was our chance to meet, our chance to discuss and to enjoy our company across vast geographical distances and despite curfews. Now, the previous lectures are available at the Benaki Museum website since they were recorded, and they covered the wedding rituals of classical Athens, the lives of two painters and an author in post-war Greece, the long life of a celebrated female Greek photographer, and the legacies of two of the most important collectors of art into the 20th century. And now the second series we did covered the costume of women in Greece, the vision of a modernist publisher in 20th century Paris, vessels coming from distant lands immured in Byzantine and post-Byzantine churches, and also the seminal 1821 before and after exhibition, which the Benaki organized to celebrate the bicentenary of the Greek Revolution. All these lectures also you can watch at the Benaki Museum website. Now this series, our third one, focuses on original and exciting exhibitions. It launched last Saturday with a presentation by Mara Verikokou on a show of Philhellenic art from 4 private collections, which again was organized to celebrate the bicentennial. Tonight's lecture will focus on a different show that is actually running as we speak at the Piraeus 138 building until the end of February. So if you have got a trip planned for Athens, please don't miss it. It is another exhibition of historical subject matter, which covers, once more, a long stretch of time, an entire century. It does not focus on a revolution or a geographical area or the life of an artist, but as Sharon highlighted, the development of a company, on the history of the company and its production, and it's a history that reads like a fairy tale. It is a company that traditionally made and continues to make biscuits. Unsurprisingly, our well-established tradition in these presentations to suggest to all of you to take a survey, usually on food, will refer exactly to the products of Papadopoulou. So I shall ask those of you so inclined to share with the rest of the audience your favorite Papadopoulou product using the chat function. Now, will you choose petit beurre, Miranda, Caprice, cream crackers, or some other treat? It's up to you. I will keep the score and share your preference via chat. Now, I am delighted to introduce today's speaker, Mr. Spyros Kizis, who designed the Papadopoulou 100 exhibition. Spyros is the director and co-founder of Kizi Studio. He studied at the Faculty of Graphic Arts and Design of the Technological Educational Institute of Athens and was awarded a Bachelor of Engineering in Product and System Design from the University of the Aegean and a Master of Fine Arts in Product Design from Edinburgh College of Art at the University of Edinburgh, where he also received the Andrew Grant Award. Spyros has been nominated in numerous competitions and has received several prizes despite his youth. His work has been exhibited in Edinburgh, in London, Milan, Ekaterinburg, Thessaloniki, and of course in Athens, where he is based. Now, without further delay, I would like to invite Spyros Kizis to talk to us on Papadopoulou 100, exhibiting a century of Greek entrepreneurship and taste. Spyro?
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Manginis, for the kind introduction. Thank you, Ms. Kirstel, for the opportunity of presenting our work for Papadopoulou 100 exhibition. We're celebrating a century of active entrepreneurship by Papadopoulou manufacturing nutrition industry. It's been more than 5 years that Ms. Ioanna Papadopoulou honored us with the duty of designing this exhibition in one of the most prestigious museums in Greece. Kizi Studio, our practice, is an architectural and design studio with a long experience in exhibition and museum design. But for this project, we collaborated with museologist Erato Koutsoudaki and graphic designer Christopher Brelis. I'm now going to share my screen. And I assume that you all are able to see my screen. Okay, then. One of the biggest challenges we had to face at this project was the welcoming area of the exhibition. How could we create a wow factor that, on the one hand, would be warm and festive, but on the other, aesthetically correct and non-commercial? So after a long thought, we just went crazy and we decided to become makers ourselves. In order to create a lighting installation, we silicon casted real biscuits and we used epoxy crystal clear resin with LED lights in order to create an installation where biscuit-shaped lamps would be hanging of the ceiling, creating a warm environment where 100 lights would act like the birthday celebration of the company, projecting the number 100 at the floor. In this way, the visitor gets a warm welcome and 100 biscuit-shaped lights, 100 years, but 1,000 square meters are about to begin. 1,000 square meters of exhibition. The exhibition is organized in 6 main topics, starting with the company brand. The power of a strong brand name is a requirement the founders of the company, Nikos and Evangelos Papadopoulos, come to understand early enough in interwar Athens. From the very beginning, they make every effort to create a clear and compelling image of their business. The development of a strong brand name earns the company superiority, thereby helping it gain significant ground over the competition. The main exhibits in this zone are old packaging, but also advertisements and tools from the early days. Design-wise, we wanted to give the feeling that the visitor is part of an advertising mock-up. So the main idea was to create a background that would convert this image to something like this. And hoping that in this way, starting with a typical living room from the 30s and going on with a grocery shop from the 50s and a kiosk that we could easily see today on the streets, or even a duty-free environment, we would create a background that would make the actual exhibits, the products, pop out. These are the places that one could find anyway, the Papadopoulou products, and in the exhibition, one can see them exhibited on these backgrounds as you see at this image. Packaging is a very, very important aspect of a product. In the beginning, biscuits are available in bulk in tin boxes, like the ones you see here. Unfortunately, we don't have it anymore like that. And we're used to the packaging that we all know. Later on, they are wrapped in small packets, mainly made of paper. Advertising was a key tool for this company. In the first years, the advertising of Papadopoulos products features exclusively in the printed press. The company addresses to the most talented artists of the time in order to create the printed ads. Some of them are saved in perfect condition, as the ones that you see here. However, Papadopoulos Company is one of the first companies to switch to video advertising since the very early days. Even before people had television in their homes, cinema advertising, they were now a way to promote their products. And obviously, since the TV came to our lives, Papadopoulos Company takes advantage of the pop culture of the times by creating new short video disclaimers. Billboards and other appropriate means of the Papadopoulos name to dominate are also widely used. Among those, one can see the exhibition in the early tools, the ones that you see here, that were used for the printed material, plus some of the original drawings. These are the stamps that were used in order to print the very early packaging materials. And these are one of the very, very first drawings that later on they were used even for the handles of the doors of the factory. The two brothers, Nikos and Evangelos Papadopoulos, participate in trade fairs as soon as they set up business in Athens. Furthermore, they do not fail to regularly follow major trade fairs abroad. That you can find at this section of the exhibition. And all this is explained where one can originally see the diplomas that they got from the participations from the exhibition. The Thessaloniki International Fair plays a fundamental role for the company. Papadopoulos products are exhibited there for the first time in 1927 at a private kiosk, which was, as Evangelos Papadopoulos stated back then, it was indeed a success despite its poor look. Though in 1951, they decided to rent the central exhibition space in Thessaloniki International Fair for about a decade. An impressive stand is designed now and built to re-establish personal contact with consumers in northern Greece. Among other photos from this era, one can see exhibits like this small biscuit maker that was used for promotional reasons. They used to have this machine in order to make heart-shaped biscuits and hand them on to the people that they were coming to see their kiosk. Leaving the brand section behind us in this exhibition, it's time for the visitor to see an impressive sum up of the graphic design treasures that we found at the company archive. All these logos, they were found in the archive, and then this board was created by our graphic designer, summing up what we found to be the most interesting. On the other side of this part of the exhibition, one can see some artistic photos, some photos actually that they show parts of the production through a different point of view. These photos are taken by Nikos Markou at the factories during the production. And this brings us to the next section of the exhibition, which is actually about the production of the goods. It all starts with a 1:6 scale prototype of the production line. The production line more or less is the same for all the products of Papadopoulos family. Here you can see a very detailed model that was created showing the process from the very beginning of taking the raw dough until the packaging. But for the visitor that is even more interested on how actually the products are made, we created 5 video animations that show separately how the 5 main products of the company are made, starting with the petit beurre and continuing with the caprice, the toast, the bread, which is a recent product that they started making about, I think, 6 to 7 years ago, ending up with the energy bars. Next to the screens, the visitor can see old tools that were used in order to shape the biscuits, plus some old photos of the people that were working at the factory in the early days, during the 50s. Here is one of the most impressive parts of the exhibition, in my opinion, but to be honest with you, you have to be there to experience it. A huge video is kind of live streaming the factory in action. So when the visitor is at that point, we created the feeling that he's part of the production, he's in the factory himself. We even changed the flooring and replaced it with a vinyl one that resembles the factory floor. At this space, you can see old machinery like this machine from the 30s that it was used to make biscuits, or these cylindrical stamps that they were used to shape these ones are for the Yemista biscuits from the 50s, that these ones are still used until today, or this machinery from the 70s that was used to make the cream, to mix up the cream for the Yemista biscuits. But now it's time to change section again and see some things regarding the company's history. In the 1922, the Papadopoulos family leave Istanbul and board up a ship bound for Marseille. In Piraeus, they disembark to rest. They sit at a cafe in the port and ask for coffee and biscuits. The owner has no idea what biscuits are. So, recognizing the business opportunity that opens before them, the family never returns to the ship of Marseille. The rest is history. On the left, we can see the history of the company in parallel with the milestones of Greek history. For example, one can find out that the plant produces cornbread for the Greek army and that the cream crackers are consumed by soldiers as dry food during the Second World War, or what happened later on during the 80s when the country was about to see a new state of affairs. Deindustrialization, statism, boom in trade unions prevail. The company experiences hard time. However, the decade ends on a particularly promising note with the company entering the bread products sector. All these, while at the other side of this section, the history of biscuits around the world is explained. The word biscuit derives from the Latin word biscuit or biscotto. It means twice baked, which ensures the product can be safely consumed as well as giving it a longer shelf life. The word dates to the Middle Ages. However, tradition has it that the first biscuits were actually made in the form of a dry rice pie in China 10,000 years ago. All this information can be seen at this wall, at the other side, where one can see the history of the family, of the company. At this section, we have two really rare exhibits. One biscuit that was saved from the Titanic, and another from the shipwreck of Lusitania. Both were auctioned and are part of Mrs. Papadopoulou private collection. This is the one from the Titanic. After one leaves behind this part of the exhibition that is about the history of the company, gets actually to meet the company, to see how they work and find out what is the structure of the company. Here you can see the very, very early computer that they had for the logistics. And you can find out by these flaps how the structure of the Papadopoulos company works. At this part of the exhibition, you can see some interviews of people that have worked or even still work at the exhibition in order to find out the personal point of view from the people that work there. After that, there is another section that is actually dedicated to the family itself. What we did here is that we wanted to create a room that would resemble a dining room, a typical dining room, but it's all white, so no one would confuse it with actually being an exhibit itself, like the real dining room of the family. On the right, you can see the genealogical tree of the family. Those are the grandfather and the grandmother of Ms. Papadopoulou, who is now head of the company. And on the back, you can see some pictures that were saved from the early days of the company until today. What's very interesting, though, is what happens at the other part of this room. Forgive me, I forgot to let you know that one can see the picture, the image of the family, and find out the bio, some information about the people that were involved. At the other side of the company, there are two rooms that are hidden. The one room is dedicated to the one brother, the one founder, Nikos, and the other one to Evangelos. At the company archives, we were lucky enough to find out the mail that those two brothers were exchanging while one stayed in Greece in order to run the company, and the other one traveled all over Europe to find out the secrets of the biscuit making by visiting other factories. So all this we try to make it appealing to the audience by making a theatrical play so that you could hear, while you could take a sneak peek at one room, and at the same time you could turn your head to the other side and see the office of the other brother. After that, obviously, it's time for taste, to see what's happening when they're actually making the biscuit. So we made a real live small factory. You can see here the people of the company that they're making Tiber. And at this part of the exhibition, you can see all the materials that they are used in order to make the biscuit. It's very impressive that once you enter the exhibition, you can smell the biscuit, but you don't really know that you're gonna see it being made at the end of it. So the more that you approach to the end of the exhibition, the stronger the smell gets, until you end up here and you can actually taste it. Another impressive exhibit that we found from the archives of the company is shown here, that there are some notes that the two brothers were taking by magazines that they used to take in order to get recipes, trying to make their products better. Before one leaves the exhibition, gets the opportunity to leave his or her note and hang it on the wall on a biscuit-shaped card, leaving its personal opinion on the products and on how he found the exhibition to be.
Again, just thank you so much, Spyro, for this tour. And I love the fact that we are able to enter an exhibition that is ongoing, so that we get to actually think about coming there and participating in it with you.